Then I will now hand you over to our General Secretary, Jo Grady. Jo, over to you.
Thank you, Tom, and hello and good evening to everyone who was able to join us. As you'll remember, after last term's ballots and the reballots we conducted in December and January, there are now 68 universities in a position to take strike action across the 4 fights and USS pension disputes. UCU's Higher Education Committee met last week to decide on the approach that we should take to scheduling strike action and further industrial action beyond this term. And we are holding this event right now to let you know the exact dates of the next round of strike action and when that will be happening, and also explain why we need to take the action that we've called. However, if you want this in writing, I have also sent an email. It should be in your inbox right now or momentarily. We sent it in the last hour. And it also has those dates confirmed in it, and you will be able to find it on our website as well. So please do share that with colleagues who, couldn't make it to this meeting and beyond. So, strike dates. For the branches with a mandate for strike action in the USS dispute, the action will start on Valentine's Day. So Monday, the 14th of February, and it will run for 7 days up to and including Friday, the 18th of February, and then Monday, the 21st, and Tuesday, the 22nd of February. For branches with a mandate to strike over 4 fights, the action will start on Monday, the 21st of February, continue to Tuesday, the 22nd of February, and then there will be another round of action on Monday, the 28th to Wednesday, the 2nd of March. All of that action will be UK-wide. So in other words, every eligible branch in the UK will be on strike at the same time. I just want to remind you, because I know there will be people watching who this applies to, if your branch just missed out on that punishing 50% turnout threshold to take industrial action, which the law imposes on us, you can, and we are encouraging you to support your colleagues in other institutions who are striking by making a donation to the UCU Fighting Fund. Remember, when they win for staff in every institution affected by these disputes. So please do give as generously as you can. Every strike date that I've just announced is important, but there is a really special one, and that is Wednesday, the 2nd of March. On that Wednesday, there will be combined action with UCU and students throughout the entire UK. And that is because, as some of you perhaps already know, the NUS has called a 1-day student strike to take place on that date. The NUS and local student unions have shown incredible support for UCU throughout these disputes, and that will be crystal clear on that day when students throughout the UK take to the streets in pursuit of a fair education system for all. And it will be incredibly special for us to join and support them on their strike day, just as they have supported us on so many of ours. After Wednesday, the 2nd of March, there will be a long round of action on a regional basis, with different branches in different regions and devolved nations taking strike action on different dates. I can't give you those precise dates right now because they are still being finalized, but we will be announcing them very shortly. So I just want to talk you through a little bit about the rationale for the dates and action that is being called, because the reason we are taking this approach is because this needs to be more tactically varied and longer running disputes than previous ones. Employers are seriously entrenched, and this is especially the case in 4 fights. They are refusing to budge. The closer we get to the end of term, the more likely they are to try and weather the storm of industrial action and wait until our 6-month legal mandate for action runs out at the start of May. The length of this mandate is not up to us. It is imposed on us by law, and it means that if we want to take more action after the start of May, a reballoting of branches would have to begin. So the approach that we are taking is acknowledging that this is a marathon and it is not a sprint. We need to make sure that after this round of action, we have enough in the tank to ballot again and renew our mandate if we need to. and if that's what members want. One of the decisions of the Higher Education Committee was to hold a sector conference towards the end of term to review what has happened so far and take decisions about how to continue the campaign. And it will be up to every single branch to help decide what we do by sending delegates to that sector conference to vote. Our demands in each dispute are completely reasonable, and they are demands which our employers can afford to meet. Our forfeits demands, our forfeits disputes, what are we asking for? We want to see movement from employers on the 4 key issues of pay, workload, casualisation, and the structural inequalities that mean women, Black, disabled staff are significantly less paid throughout the sector. We want to see meaningful concessions that will actually cost something for employers to provide. We know that the last decade, employers have been spending less and less of their income every year on staff, and at a time when their overall income has increased massively, well beyond inflation. The proportion of income which employers spend on staff has dropped from nearly 60% a decade ago to 50%. We know what a decent offer on forfeits looks like because it will involve that number turning around and going in the right direction for the first time in 10 years. In the USS dispute, yesterday we set out an approach to resolving the dispute, which is based on input from scheme members. When USS consulted members on the cuts employers are making to the scheme, members indicated a strong preference for paying more to protect current benefits, as long as employers also paid more. We are therefore asking employers to agree to increase their contributions by an amount to USS by an amount that USS has already said that employers are able to afford, while members will also pay a little bit more for a time-limited period of 12 months. This will provide as much protection as possible for member benefits until a more realistic valuation can be conducted. This is something we are also calling on employers to demand from USS. So now is the time, if you're in a USS branch, to be asking your Vice Chancellor, will you sign up to the UCU deal? Will you make that tiny increase on your staff costs, which works out at less than 1% of a university's annual income in most cases, to prevent what could end up becoming the most savage round of cuts that we have ever seen to this pension scheme? The action we are calling on USS in that earlier period of February aligns with crunch meetings with employers in which the cuts to the USS pension scheme could be formalised. So it is this earlier action that is specifically targeted at USS employers because they are the ones that can act to prevent cuts to USS pensions. Now, I want to say something before we draw this announcement to a close, because I know that some of you will be looking at industrial action and you will be worried, and I understand that. But what I want to say is that industrial action can win. We've taken industrial action on these issues before, and I know it feels like these disputes are never ending, but I'm afraid that is because employers' attacks on working conditions in HE have been absolutely relentless since the global financial crisis and also the coalition government's changes to the sector. And we have tried to negotiate, and we are still even trying right now as we are getting ready for action. But the reality is that we will face another 10 years of decline if we don't act. But look at what we have achieved as a union since the pandemic, and you will see that collective action gets the results. Look at the hundreds of jobs that we've defended in one local dispute or another, whether that is Heriot Watt up in Scotland, to the universities of Chester and Liverpool, who last summer, and too many other institutions to mention, saved jobs. Look at the immense struggle over health and safety that we have been through since the first lockdown. We had the first trade union branch in the UK to ballot successfully over COVID-related health and safety, and that was the Northumbria of University UCU branch. We had the first prison education branch in the UK to ballot successfully over health and safety, or indeed any issue, since the Tories imposed their 50% turnout threshold in 2016 in Nova's prison education. Throughout our sectors, we made our employers take extra measures to protect us as staff and our students. And all of that was achieved by UCU members taking, or in some cases, threatening to take industrial action together. And the same is true of the issues we're taking action over now. Look at your colleagues in the further education sector. Last year, 15 of our branches in FE in England held their ballots for industrial action over pay and pay-related issues. They got a mandate for action, and pretty much every single one of those 15 branches got significantly improved offers from their employer on pay, and some of them covering other issues too, like workload and like casualisation. Again, all of this was achieved by UCU members taking collective action. As a union, we have had immense success through collective action across the board. But the one thing, the only thing we haven't cracked yet are these UK-wide disputes in higher education. And that is not anyone's fault. It is not our fault. It's because there is so much at stake and our employers are so deeply entrenched. And a win in either of these disputes would make history. If we look at USS, no other union has seen a defined benefit pension scheme come under this kind of sustained attack for more than 10 years now and defended it. No other union has done that. No other union has kept a scheme like USS alive through 3 grueling rounds of industrial action ballots with that punishing 50% threshold like we have, because we understand that our pensions are our deferred wage. And if we don't stand up and fight for them, our employers will take them. And if we look at forfeits, the public sector pay, we've seen that go down everywhere since the financial crisis. No union has achieved a sector-wide deal covering equality, workload, or job security in any industry in recent years. Never mind an industry as complex and as many different employers as HE. What we are trying to do here is immense, and that is why we need every single UCU member to take part in this action if they can. That includes those in branches without a mandate by donating to the Fighting Fund, taking parts in your branch if you're not in action to raise money. Our HEC called upon branches that are not in dispute to adopt a branch that is in dispute and make sure that they fully support them, not just financially if they can, but through other means. And of course, we will be in touch soon with more information about the strikes. There's an email going out very shortly to our branch reps with information that they need. As I said at the beginning, we will be in touch about that regional action and what happens after that. But in the meantime, in USS, there is less time to prepare for this action because we have to disrupt those negotiation meetings. In our 4 fights, which will be happening very shortly after, start talking to your colleagues. When these 2 disputes in the middle of February are on together, everybody needs to understand what is wrong with pay in universities and what is wrong with pensions, why we have a casualisation problem, the consequences of workloads, and the absolute disgrace of significant equality pay gaps. Talk to your students, talk to your colleagues. We will be doing immense amounts of press work in head office, and the regional rolling strikes will definitely help keep our disputes in the spotlight. But my main message is get ready, because we need to make these strikes as effective as possible. So with that said, thank you everyone for listening, and all the best. Consult your emails, be in touch with your branch, and solidarity, and take care everyone. Thanks.